Rams fans, what the heck is up, man? It's a great day to be a Rams fan, which is exactly probably what you guys are. I know that there's some other fans that hang out here sometimes, but hey, the Rams made a big move today. We were all kind of anticipating a big move, and that's exactly what happened. We were all a little bit sad at the linebacker news last week with Kenny Young being traded to the Denver Broncos, but they kind of made up for it just a little bit this week for us. And so to talk about this trade and to talk about maybe potentially another trade, went high voice on you guys. We'll talk about that to see if we get another one going. But to start, we got the dancing Payo Time over here.
Celebrate.
Yeah, I know that you're excited about Von Miller, but we also got Rams House in the house.
What's up, guys?
Von Miller news as well. This is some pretty good stuff, guys. This is, unexpected. Well, I want to say unexpected. But I was like commenting on things. I was talking to everybody. I went into work today. I told one of my coworkers who's a huge Bronco fan. I was like, hey, man, I don't know what it is, but there's just something about it that I feel like Von Miller's going to be a Ram by the end of the day. I have nothing telling me that. I have no sources on that. I have no evidence of that. It's like just a feeling in my bones, man. And he was like, nah, he's super ingrained in Denver. He won't go anywhere. But, guys,
Called it.
I'm over the top. Yeah, first of all, Joe Stradamus is in the house over here. Called it, man. And, some good stuff. But I think this is going to be a pretty good change for the rest of the season, guys. What do you got, Payo? Like, how you feeling after seeing this?
It's been a fun day. Just the Ramley on Twitter and on YouTube and Instagram has been hilarious today. All the GIFs, all the memes. And yeah, like I think what's exciting most about this is that all-in mentality, right? And like when the Rams Twitter posted a GIF of like a poker player going like, "We're all in," I think that I know it just set this whole new hype. Like I think you have a 7-1 team, you're excited, you're stoked, and then you make a trade like that the day before the deadline. Like, let's go! Oh man.
Dude, that's the best part too. Is like being 7-1, and they're sitting in the front office like, not good enough. Like, listen,
we need better.
Yeah, more. Yeah. So I love it. Rams House, man. I know you were a little bit busy as this news came in, man. But how did it hit you, man?
It hit me with a ton of emotions, and they were all very positive. And I don't know. I was just really excited to see this because I knew that if we, for some reason, didn't make a move, by the end of the day, all Rams fans would be mad for a month. Like, that's just kind of how it was going to be. And I feel like the anticipation for all of us Rams fans, like feeling like there was going to be a big trade coming, knowing like we have a past of doing that, the whole week, for me at least, felt so slow waiting for that to happen. And then seeing that we got Von Miller, that just made me ecstatic because not only does it like help him and he could get a ring, but it helps us and it helps Donald. Like in a way, I know that Donald will still be getting double teamed, triple teamed, but you can't block all of those guys. So I was just extremely excited, but I also felt like I was dreaming because I was like, no way that Joe guessed this. And just, I had a sneaky suspicion that you were working for the Rams and JB Long told you something like that. But no, I was really ecstatic when I heard the news.
Sheriff Joe is Les Snead's secret trade advisor.
Yeah, we text all the time. Yeah, it was actually kind of interesting because of how many people I was talking to about this morning. Because it was hitting me that hard that I felt like Von Miller was going to be a Ram. So I was like, I need to tell people this. Like, I need to have this conversation with people. So I really was just like telling people. I told 2 different people separately at work, and it was like, yo, I need to get this out to the universe so that people know before something happens that I'm saying right now that I think Von Miller is going to be a Ram by the end of the year. But we do have some other information ever since like this has come out. We obviously know the deal. We gave a second and a third. I'll take that all day. I know some people, I don't want to say an argument. I had a little bit of a discussion with somebody today about is that too much to give up for a guy like Von Miller? But when you factor in certain things like how they're still paying him $9 million and we'll pay him $700,000 for the year.
Yeah.
You factor in different things like that. And I guess my point is that there's different ways to build a team. There is people who build through the draft, but you see, when we were building through the draft, we were picking top 5 every year. We continued to pick top 5 every year. And then we started building like this, and we're able to break out of that a little bit. You see some of the comments coming in talking about how he's wearing number 40. That was his number at Texas A&M. That is partially, by the way, guys, why I'm also really jacked about this. I'm a Texas A&M fan. I love to see my Aggies coming to the Rams, guys. But you said you were talking about Rams House where it's like the lead up all week. We knew something was coming, but did not know what. So we have Von Miller. I feel like that excitement is not going to wear off for a little bit. I feel like at least until after this Titans game where we get to see him on the defense for the first time. But do you think there's potentially any other moves coming?
I do. So what's the exact time of when the trade deadline, like when you're not allowed to make any more trades? Is it by midnight?
2 hour time in Colorado out here, Mountain Time, which is 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, Ram time.
Okay, so tomorrow?
Yeah.
4 p.m. Eastern time.
So, yeah, if it was a type of deal like it was ending by midnight, then I would say no more moves. But for some reason, I have a suspicion, maybe not as strong as you did without Von Miller, but I have a suspicion that we're going to be making at least one more move. And I could honestly see that for a punt returner or a kick returner. Like, I know that that's not a position that we've had, like, really strong talent in kind of a while. I feel like Farrell Cooper was, like, our best last one that we had. But I think Tutu Atwell's supposed to be out for the rest of the season, which is unfortunate, but he really was not doing that good of a job. I feel like we really need somebody to be locking it down there. And because it's like every single week we see Cooper Kupp, then somebody else, then Cooper Kupp, and somebody else. And I don't know about you guys, but I just don't like the feeling of Cooper Kupp being back there because I feel like he could just get absolutely rocked. That's not where he's supposed to be. So I could see us trading for somebody who has the skills. I would really like to see us grab Cordero Patterson. As far as this contract, I'm not really sure if that fits in with our situation, but I think that would be really nice bringing him from a team who's not really winning much. But I would really want to see a move where we get an explosive punt returner or kick returner to add to the team, because then it's like all 3 phases are looking pretty good.
That really is an interesting take a little bit because it's it almost feels like punt returner, kick returner is like our weak spot now. You know, I still think that inside linebacker, it does make me a little bit nervous. I thought that Kenny Young was our best inside linebacker, and that the way that Troy Reeder played against the Lions just made me nervous. I know that he played really well, and Ernest Jones came in and played an awesome game against the Houston Texans, but yeah, so I mean, I guess part of that does make me lead me to maybe kick returner, punt returner is our weak spot now. With Tutu going out though, I don't know. Like in this, I don't want to sound like a jerk or anything like that, but like I don't think that that's a very high impact injury for this team. Like I hate to see him get hurt. I don't like that at all. But as far as like the gameplay on the field, I don't think it's high impact.
I think the biggest thing that Tutu going out hurts is he's clearly someone like he has a high potential, you know, that we did draft him in the second round. His speed is obviously a huge attribute, his elusiveness.
Is it though? Where has it been?
Well, no, that's the thing. He hasn't performed, but the potential's there. And coming in as a rookie, the thing that him going out, it does hurt his development, which sucks.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And the thing for Tutu, to me, it's been a little frustrating because I think all of us, I can't speak for you guys, but I feel like all of us were really excited for him because, like, we had a speed guy. We had 2 speed guys in the offseason. And I was at least really excited to see him on punt returns or kick returns. I just kind of had a feeling he would take over that role and he would be explosive. He kind of worried me with that size about the hits he would take. But I don't know what was up with him where he just, like, falling all over the place on the punt returns and kick returns. And that wasn't just last game. I feel like I was seeing it in other games too. And it was really weird. And I was like, if Deshaun Jackson, I know it's different because he can get injured easier. But I was like, if Deshaun Jackson isn't getting on the field much, there's no way Tutu will see much time. And so it's like, I'm with you with that's not really going to impact our team much with him being out. But I don't know. I was kind of disappointed with Tutu. Hopefully he can develop more. But yeah, I know that there's that potential. It's just kind of weird though. I feel like on those punt returns and the kick returns, there wasn't much speed showcase because he didn't really find any lanes. But also I just feel like it was hard for him to even stay on his feet. And so it was kind of a glaring thing because they spent a second-round pick on him. But I certainly hope he has a speedy recovery and hope that he comes out better next year.
Yeah, definitely well wishes, and I don't hope he fails. And I know that sometimes my comments, I guess sometimes maybe I word it weird or it's interpreted kind of weird, but like some people think I like hate Taylor Rapp or Tutu Atwell and that I want them to do poorly. No, I want them to do well. That's the problem. Is that I feel like they can be better. Like Taylor Rapp, I think could be better right now. Tutu Atwell, I think that he can be a better player than what he's shown us so far. So, but Tutu, I don't know. He's not shown me anything that gets me excited as like, oh, we need to get this guy out there more. Like we need to see him out there. But a guy who has Ben Skoranek. I think that he's done a lot in his development. He looks like he's wanting to learn. He wants to get out there. So I'm excited to see what he can do now, especially, with to go back to the trade a little bit is I still think that we trade Deshaun Jackson. I don't know for what, probably at this point picks, if I had to guess, try to recoup a little bit of draft capital so that we don't have to take the day off or the 3 days off, I guess, in April come draft time. But yeah, right now it'll be not very exciting on draft day, but at least day one hasn't been exciting for a long time.
I think like what I just don't understand why other teams and other fans don't get this is, okay, we're 7-1 and you have to trade a second and a third round pick in next year's draft to get an elite pass rusher.
Exactly.
Like I don't know where it's like there's no guarantee that those two players that you would draft would turn into Von Miller.
Exactly.
And those two players can't help you right now when you're 7-1.
Exactly.
I don't like, to me, it's not rocket science. Like, and you don't have to pay him his full salary.
Yeah. Part of my conversation I was having earlier was that like draft picks are a coin toss, and I got kind of like the comment back to me was like, well, it's ridiculous to say that a second and third round pick is a 50-50 shot. It's like, dude, even first round picks are 50-50s. Like they are not guaranteed at all. And the way that the Rams have kind of built, and yeah, it's very, very possible that within the next however many years that we see a hard fall off, like that could absolutely happen. But what's this all for? Like, isn't the NFL about winning? And if we can build this way and win a couple rings, say we win 2 in the next 5 years, I think that that's worth it than just building through the draft and being an average team for the next 15. I think I'd take this and take a hard drop off and then try to do it again. I just think that that's the way that,
and we still got $40 million coming off the books next year to help out with that.
Yeah, we're not eating dead cap forever. I mean, that dead cap will eventually disappear, Edwin, first of all, what up, man? Welcome in. Okay, I was a big fan, or read that wrong. How big of an impact can Von Miller have on the team? I guess I was reading what I wanted to read. I think he's going to do a solid job. He's got 4.5 sacks on the year so far. Hasn't played in every game. But I think that with him coming in, like the way I was trying to equate it was a little bit like Matthew Stafford, how he comes over and Matthew Stafford is not the same quarterback as he was in Detroit. And I think that we'll see something similar to Von Miller coming over to the Rams defense. He's not going to be that same exact player because he's now got a better supporting cast. He had no Aaron Donalds in Denver. You know what I mean? So I think that he's going to do a good job, and he's going to be able to take advantage of having Floyd on the other side, Donald in the middle, and obviously it's like also some budding talent on that defensive front, which is not only Ernest Jones, but guys like Sebastian Joseph Day. Hoyt played really well yesterday. Yeah, I mean, there's some good rotational guys on that defensive line. What do you guys got to say on that one?
Yeah, even Gaines played well yesterday. I was kind of happy to see absolutely. That. And yeah, the thing for me that I'm still kind of wondering about is, first, I think that, Von Miller is going to do really well because there's all this help. Plus, I'm just kind of happy for the guy that he'll be on a team that's contending again. Like, I know that he's loyal to Denver and everything, but I'm sure he's just going to be fired up when he's here. I'm kind of curious, actually, for kind of a question back. Do you think that we're going to be rotating the edge rushers in with Von Miller being there? Because we have some really solid guys behind him. And do you think we'll use that to where we can kind of be rotating him, keeping him fresh? Or do you think that he's still going to get like 70-80% of the snaps at that position?
I think to start, it will be pretty rotational until he really gets the feel of the defense, which I don't think will take long for a guy like Von Miller. But, Justin Hollins is going to be supposed to be back at some point this season. Obo's been playing really well. So I do like the guys that we have there. The one person of all of this that I actually feel bad for is Chris Garrett, who's been inactive continually. And now it just doesn't look like he's ever going to get to see the sideline again, so that's unfortunate. But
again, he's a rookie that has chance to develop, right? And it's not his year. And I like that the Rams develop their players well.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely do. And like, I know people always are quick to say like the Rams just give up all their drafts for like they just give away draft picks for all these guys. But I mean, look at the roster and look at the starters that we have. I mean, you can really pick out the guys that are not homegrown. I mean, there's not that many of them. I mean, you do have Matt Stafford. You got Robert Woods on the offensive side. And then, of course, Andrew Whitworth. Just about everybody else is homegrown. You look at the defensive side, Jalen Ramsey, and now Von Miller. Who else? Like, who is not a homegrown guy? So I guess I just disagree with some of those comments, but what's up?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say something that still kind of bothers me is the people that get so upset when we're trading away picks, and then they also like opposing fans, not fans of the Rams, when they think we're just gonna absolutely crumble if we don't win the Super Bowl this year. Like, I understand that we brought in Von Miller, and most likely. I don't really know if I see us bringing him back after this year, honestly, with the type of guys we have to re-sign. But everybody's like, the people of the opposing fan bases I keep on seeing are like, well, if the Rams don't win a Super Bowl this year, that means they're going to completely fall off. And I don't know. It's just hard for me to agree with that. I feel like our window is probably like 3 years, maybe 4, being generous with 4. I really hope we win one this year, but that's kind of something annoying for me that I'm seeing. Like, obviously, we have the people who think that since we are giving away picks, then we're going to be bad. But, like, I don't know. That's always kind of frustrating to me. So I hope we win one with Vaughn this year. But if we don't, I don't think that means this is a complete fail.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always on that side. So I don't know. What were you saying, Payo?
Well, I was looking up a couple of offensive line rankings for our rest of season, and so like we actually play a lot. Like if you look at it, Tennessee has kind of middle of the road line. San Fran's line has been lower half. So like, will Von Miller have an impact the next 2 games? Yeah. Then our bye week. Green Bay's offensive line is injured a little bit, but it's doing well. Jacksonville, obviously, it's Jacksonville. But then when you get into this latter part of the season, the Seahawks O-line is actually playing decent. Minnesota has a capable offensive line. Baltimore, they're not the greatest at pass protection, but they rank high in.
Well, he can get away from you. Jackson can get away from you.
Exactly, right? And so, like, if you look at the remaining games in our schedule, like, it's not crazy for this Rams team to really stack up some sacks.
Yeah. I agree. We got a pretty favorable schedule in the terms of that, at least.
Yeah.
Aren't we leading in sacks as far as team sacks?
We're at 25, I think.
25, yeah.
I think we're in first as far as team sacks go. I think that's what I saw.
And we had Von Miller.
Yeah. I think we're going to go a little bit crazier now with him.
Oh, man.
See, and part of the reason that makes me think that a move is still coming is because of the money with the Von Miller situation, and that the Rams still have, like, we cleared space and then didn't need that space for the guy that we did get. So I don't know. And there's the little tiny parts of me that think that, like, we could make a move for wide receiver, especially now that Jackson is mad, Tutu's down. But I don't know if we really need to. I think Van Jefferson's playing awesome ball right now. Obviously, Cooper Kupp is just lighting it up. He really could hit 2K this year. And that, Like, that's a real thing that he could be on pace for. Robert Woods, we know what he can do. It's unfortunate that his numbers have taken a dip like they have, but there is a little part of me that thinks that like adding a wide receiver makes a little bit of sense. And potentially for the to kind of tie back to what you said, Rams House is for that like punt returner, kick returner situation. Because honestly, I thought we solved it with Tutu, and it doesn't look like that's necessarily coming true yet. And then guys like Raymond Calais looked awesome in preseason, then he gets hurt, So it's just kind of been a string of bad luck. And I like Skoranek. I have nothing negative really to say about Skoranek, but when he's back there returning kicks, dude looks like he's in slow motion.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it.
Acceleration you need, yeah.
He looks like he's but he looks like the effort level's there. Like he's hitting it, but he still looks like he's like barely.
Yeah.
It's like running in sand or something out there, man. But
that's one thing that I was kind of curious to see what you guys thought about it, because obviously we still have time to see what Tutu could do. But what do you think? Like, if you had the choice to choose between Tristan Jackson and Tutu Atwell, who do you think you would pick? Because I saw this question come up somewhere. I forgot where it was. I really liked what Jackson was doing in the preseason. Like I feel like he was a pretty complete receiver. Obviously, he's not the talent of Woods and Cup and our starters, but I was kind of curious to get your thoughts on that, because as soon as I saw Van Jefferson go down, I was like, oh no, because like obviously he didn't stay out, but I was kind of getting worried. I was like, of course it's after all these wide receiver drama stuff is happening, then that happens. But I was kind of curious to get your thoughts on that.
Payo?
Honestly, like, okay, you touched on a couple different things there. Like, you have to acknowledge the Tutu disappointment. And as again, someone who will always say, he's a rookie player that needs time to develop. But obviously, he wasn't the caliber of kick returner that we need. I'm not really sure if Tristan Jackson was the answer either. It's just sort of like he was there, and that's what we had. So I don't know if I have a complete thought to offer this discussion at this time.
I think I go Jackson. I think pretty quick I go Jackson, especially with what we've seen from Tutu so far this year. Mm-hmm. And it's not just what we've seen from Tutu on the football field. It's part of it is the comments from our own offensive coordinator and our own head coach talking about how Tutu needs to, what was it that McVay said, that he needs to
he needs more sense of urgency or something.
Yeah, sense of urgency.
Right. Yeah. And then you have Kevin O'Connell, who's out here saying like that he had to talk to him and telling him that when we're in walkthroughs and stuff like that, pay attention to guys like Woods and Cup, which makes me think that while Woods and Cup are taking their reps, Tutu's off messing around on the side, joking around or something like that. But then we've seen his press conferences. He looks really disengaged there even. So, and I don't want to put him in that box yet of saying like, I don't really want this guy around and stuff like that. But we've seen nothing so far to get me like pumped up for Tutu. I want to see it. I want to get pumped up for Tutu, but now we're going to
literally the only thing from Tutu we've seen that's like optimistic is in the preseason he had some good catches.
Yeah, he had a couple of small flashes in the preseason. I remember one at the Chargers game because I remember getting excited about it, like seeing him pop, and it was like, oh crap, that was Tutu. That's cool. But ultimately, like in the regular season though, he really disappeared in the regular season. I don't like to see that. Wendell coming in. What up, Wendell? I've been Facebook friends with Wendell for like a million years, like way back to the St. Louis Rams and stuff. It's cool that you're here, man. Appreciate you stopping in. Says, sup, guys? What are you all's thoughts on rookie linebacker Ernest Jones's gameplay this week? I think he played rather well in his debut. I absolutely agree. I think he played awesome. Led the team in tackles with 9, had an interception. He's all over the place. Had the green dot just for a little bit there late, and because normally that's Jordan Fuller, but I did see it on the 50 for a little bit, man. But hey, I'm excited for what Ernest Jones can develop into, and he did partially ease the Kenny Young trade for me a little bit. But what do you guys have to say on Ernest Jones, man, coming in big this week?
Yeah, I loved his performance. It was really fun too, because like I told you over messages, he was my second favorite draft pick, like besides Chris Garrett. Like I don't know, For some reason when we drafted Chris Garrett, I just always liked him, and like I just thought he had a lot of potential. So I really liked Ernest Jones because kind of the size that he has as well as some of the traits. I loved how in college he was always getting those big nasty hits. Like I don't know, that was cool to me. But as far as how he played on Sunday, I thought it was really cool because even if he wasn't the one making the tackle, I feel like he was just always around the ball, and that's kind of what you want in a linebacker is to make sure that you're always there to make the play. And even if somebody else would tackle him, I feel like it was almost like every time the tackle was made, he was right there and he put his hand on him, just making sure he knows he's there. And then he gets the interception. That got me so fired up because I was like, no way, he actually throws it to him. And he did. And so, like, I don't know. I'm with you. I'd probably say it eases the Kenny Young trade a little bit more. I always liked Ernest Jones, but I didn't think he would look that comfortable, I guess is the way I would use the word. I feel like he just looked really composed and comfortable on that defense.
Well, and just how little McVay usually likes to use rookies to see him so willing to throw out Jones in a pivotal spot there. And I mean, it's against the Texans, but it's a perfect time to do it. Throw him out there against Davis Mills, and let him kind of get his feet wet a little bit. And then, we were supposed to have Derrick Henry this week. Unfortunately, we don't. I was really excited about that. Really wanted to see what happens when Derrick Henry and Aaron Donald meet at the goal line, but we get deprived of that. So that's unfortunate. But Payo, man, what do you got on Ernest Jones?
So, okay, I fully want to acknowledge it's quite well known. Kenny Young was one of my favorite Rams heading into this season. I was very sad to see him traded away, especially for what the Rams got in return. But I understand it was a cap move to do something magical. I totally acknowledge that. That's the business side of football, but you can't knock Kenny Young. Like he's a solid player. I hope he does well with the Broncos. It did ease, and this is pre Von Miller trade. We live in a different world than we did yesterday.
Real.
When seeing Ernest Jones go out there and play like he did like ease the what? I'll miss Kenny, but maybe I'll like Ernest Jones just a little bit too. And my favorite part about Ernest Jones is whenever he made the tackle, you just saw it in him. He tackled and he's getting ready for the next play, right? Like he celebrates all that jazz, but he is a 4 quarters player, and I loved seeing that in his premiere. Seeing him get the pick was a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm hoping he's a Rams for a while and he has some good games. And okay, here's my thing I'm trying to speak into fruition here is we're playing the Titans Sunday Night Football. Comes down to the last drive. Ryan Tannehill throws it to say AJ Brown, and Ernest Jones tackles him at the 1 yard line.
That would be awesome.
That would be so cool, man.
And then I want Mike Jones trending on Twitter again. I want side-by-side comparison memes. Yeah, it would be amazing.
Dude, that would be really cool. But that would mean that the play before that Ryan Tannehill would make some crazy break a tackle off of Leonard Floyd or something like that and launch a deep. So I don't want to see that part. But the rest
of it, Jones tackles someone at the 1 yard line. That's all.
Yeah. It's just that'll be worth it, man. But kind of going back to this trade a little bit, we're talking about linebackers and stuff like that. But if you look at both of those trades, both linebacker trades that we had with the Denver Broncos, and you put them together, I think they make a lot more sense together. Yeah. Because when you look at just the Kenny Young trade, it looks like the Broncos stole Kenny Young from the Rams. If you look at just the Von Miller trade, it kind of feels like the Rams stole Von Miller from the Broncos. So if you add those together, which would mean sending Kenny Young a 7, a 2, and a 3 to Denver for 6 and Von Miller, that feels right.
Yeah.
So I think you got to kind of look at it that way, but I also don't think we're done. There's something about it, man. Doesn't feel like we're done.
Something's brewing.
Did you see? I saw something today that was talking about how when the Rams were discussing trades for Kenny Young to trade him to the Broncos, that they already started discussing about Von Miller the week prior to that.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and so it's funny to me how McVay said no, we aren't planning any splash moves. He said that last week, and then we made this move. But
cool.
it's just kind of funny to me, and I think you mentioned this to me as well, but it's just funny to me how they're already discussing it behind the scenes, like before it got to the trade deadline. They already had a plane and everything, so it was kind of funny.
Yeah, that is. I mean, I kind of felt like something was coming, and part of it with Denver was the fact that we just kind of were like I talked about it on last week's episode of Ram Showcase. We'll definitely dive into this topic, by the way, guys, on Ram Showcase this week. I've got a whole thing written up already about Von Miller. We've also got kind of a spoiler alert for you guys. I'm going into the newest twist on the St. Louis versus NFL and the Rams lawsuit. We're going to go into that a little bit, but that'll all happen on this week's episode of Ram Showcase. But yeah, I kind of mentioned that it kind of seemed like the Rams like called the Broncos and were like, "Hey, y'all want Kenny Young?" Like they're like, "Oh yeah, sure. What do you want for him?" Like whatever you guys want, that's cool. Like just kind of like what it felt like. But
and you wonder if Rams make that trade to clear up a bit of cap space. You wonder if the Rams were trying to clear cap and maybe originally it was like the Rams were offering like a second round pick or something. And then the Broncos were like, no, we're, we want you to take his money or something like that, like get your cap, situation under control. And so that's why maybe the Rams were trying to clear cap space. But then when they couldn't do it, you wonder if the Rams and Leslie, it was just like, what if we toss in a third? Will you pay him for the year? and like for the Broncos, like he was probably going to walk next year anyway, and so then they're just getting a comp pick for him, where now like they get a second and a third in a trade, and sure they're paying the money they would have paid him anyway, because there were I saw a thing, there weren't really any other contenders that could have absorbed his cap hit, and the Broncos wanted to respect their star player, their franchise player for the past so many years, and send him to a team that has a chance.
Which is really cool. And yeah, I mean, the NFC is so scary right now. Like, I mean, it's like you look at all the one-loss teams, they're just beating each other. Like Rams 1 losses to Cardinals 1 losses to Green Bay. Like, and like, until this week, the Bucs only loss was only to the Rams, but then of course the Saints beat them. That's a division game. Hard to put too much weight into that, but I think that the way that the real impact that we'll see from Von Miller, though, and it's kind of like as I'm working today, because I'm like at work while I hear this news and I'm like trying to talk about it, stuff like that, but I'm like working, so I'm like doing a bad job at work is basically what happened today. But the more I was kind of thinking about it was that the way that this defense is playing this year, which does feel a lot softer than it has under Staley with this Morris. Like he just seems a little bit conservative. But the way that the secondary's been playing, because we got stars in the secondary, and even when Darius Williams went down, Dante Dion's playing some ball. By the way, I'm pumped for him. I'm glad he's back. I hated when we cut him. I'm glad he's back on the active roster. But the way that this is playing right now, I think that the pass rush is important. It's extremely important. If we can get there to the quarterback, then I think that opens up exactly what our defense is trying to do this season, which has been a struggle. We've been trying to keep everything in front of us and just like let them let the routes develop, but make sure, I don't know. It's just the way that everything's going. It feels like we are just missing a little bit of a pass rush, and so I think that this is like the perfect supplement to that. So I think that guys like Ramsey will reap the benefits of this move.
I love how you say it feels like we're missing a pass rush when we lead the league with 25 team sacks.
Our standards are here now, man. All right.
We're the best in the league. Not good enough.
Yeah. We've come a long way since 2009, guys. All right.
I don't know what's happened to Robert Rochelle. I don't know if he's just getting injured, but the announcer said yesterday that he came out of the game. But I want to see more of him because I liked the combo of Rochelle, Dion, and Ramsey. I don't know. Right now I don't really like what David Long offers too much, but I'm just kind of confused what's going on with Rochelle. Like he's still dealing with injuries, or I don't know.
Yeah, Rochelle has he's a little bit raw, but I think his talent is definitely there. Like there's been a couple of plays where you're like, it if he was just like a little bit more experienced, he probably would have made that play or something. Like just certain things that he does, he turns but then stops for a second. When if he kept moving, he could have been there. It's
Like the
little things like
touchdown.
yeah, that's exactly it. That's literally what's in my head. But it's, I mean, stuff like that comes with experience, and you got to think that too. I mean, it's not like Jalen Ramsey's not saying that stuff to him on the sideline. He's learning as he's going. And, that's the good part about this team right now is the veteran leadership that is there, like with Ramsey, Donald, now Miller, Leonard Floyd. That veteran leadership is extremely helpful for these young guys like Ernest Jones, even Jordan Fuller, who I think is a great leader. I think he's still kind of coming into his own a little bit, getting a little bit more comfortable, but he's the man. So, but he's kind of my guy. I had somebody said that we weren't watching the game. The Chiefs are up 14-7. If you guys are curious, it's the second quarter.
I have it over there.
I picked the Giants. I'm just going to put it out there.
Ooh.
But I also picked the Jags, so don't listen to me too much. Actually, I think
did you guys see the thing with the Jags yesterday where they got flagged for 12 men on the field, and then the very next play they got flagged for 12 men on the field again?
I didn't see that.
Like nice. Jag's gonna jag, man. That's right. How it works. Hey, at least they did. I mean, I don't know, because you do that, you get a penalty, or you could do what the Rams did on the second fake punt by the Lions and just put 10
people on the field. You can't do that.
I hated that. Hated it.
I'm hoping though, like now that we have back-to-back games where onside kicks have been converted against us, I'm hoping that like this week the special teams unit just practices like hands team for like 5 hours straight.
Well, McVay did say that the hands team will get some extra work this week.
Yeah, right.
He also mentioned today that he still has all the confidence in the world in Robert Woods to be that guy that is catching that ball, and he definitely trusts him, Bobby Trees, to do it again. So he'll put him back there as well. But you know what? I really think this defensive this special teams coordinator might not be it. Joe D. Yeah. I don't think he's it. So
I have confidence.
Spoiled with bones for years.
I know.
I had the confidence coming into this season. I don't like, especially with all the experience he's had, but it's not where it's at. Like, I don't know. It was really fun to see the fake, but of course it got called back for whatever reason. It was fun to see a fake, but I just want to get Coach Bones back.
Honestly, man, Bones was awesome, and he was a really fun coach to have, and it's been a miss ever since. Like that's a guy that we've noticed his lack of presence here on our coaching staff. It goes to everything, even trying to find a kick returner, punt returner. That's. We still can't even nail that down, and we're putting guys like, I mean, no shot intended at Benny Skoranek here, but Benny Sko is looking like he's running in sand and gets like the 15 before he's blasted. So,
and isn't it crazy? Like the Rams often have horrible starting field position. Yeah. Like when was the last time we ever started at like the 40? Like if it wasn't
Cooper, maybe
like maybe if a kick got kicked out of bounds or something, like. We always start like 25 or less, maybe the 30 if we're lucky, right? Like, and on punt returns, like I can't remember the last time we've had a one go to the house that didn't get called back, right?
Yeah, well, that would be Farrell Cooper. I know that answer, but that's an actual answer.
No, that's just it. It'd be Farrell Cooper.
Yeah, that was a great one because when he ran that one back, I was like, where's the flag? And I was like, wait, there's someone did it? So that was fun. But
I loved Farrell Cooper. And then I think it was versus Seattle when he had that game where he had like 2 returns and then one there. I think he had 2 touchdown returns on a punt. And then he got one where he got like down to the 1. He was just like having an amazing game. I still kind of miss Farrell Cooper because like that game was so fun. I think it was the game when we beat Seattle like 42-0. Or
that was a great day.
Yeah, that
I
was
remember everything about that day. I was watching it Flatirons out here in Colorado Springs. It's closed now, but I remember. Yeah, I remember I ate tater tots. Yep, I remember all of that, man.
Those are the
So
best games.
now we got Tutu, who gets tackled by a stiff breeze, man. You can barely touch that dude and he's on the ground. Or you don't even have to touch him and he'll fumble it.
Yeah. Well, how did he get injured yesterday? I didn't understand that. How did he injure his shoulder?
I didn't see it, but that's literally what worried me though about Tutu and his size. I think he just needs to pack on just a little bit more. Like you can be a small dude, that's fine, you know what I mean? But you gotta he's built like me. I mean, that's not good for a football player. You know what I mean? Like that's like
we found our solution.
Going against NFL linebackers when you look like Sheriff Joe Bags, okay? So you got to put on something there. I mean, I think I'm taller than he is. But
yeah.
How tall is Tutu?
Well, Tutu's like 5'9", I want to say.
Okay, so I'm a little bit taller than him. I'll take it.
Yeah, take the dub. I think we just put you or Payo Time back there to return it. We'll be safe.
I'll do it. I'll do it, guys. I'll do it.
As long as you live at SoFi.
Yeah, yeah. Just let me stay in one of those suites at SoFi.
Mm-hmm.
I'll return all of the.
I don't want to eat the hot dogs.
Yeah, we'll leave the hot dogs. You keep those. Have those changed yet? I don't know if anybody's been
they
back.
They must have done something.
I hope they did something.
I'll let you guys know when I go out in December to the Jags game. I'll
do a video of you eating one of the dogs, and are they as bad as they thought they were?
Dude, you have no idea. Okay, first of all, when I was out there for the preseason game, the hot dog was like good size, whatever. Yeah. But the bun was like this. And you know what? That was just too much hot dog in one bite for me with no bun.
That's not good when you're just tasting the hot dog only.
Yeah, it was all dog, man. There was no hot to it. It was all dog, and it was all like soggy because it had been wrapped up with the foil and stuff like that. Yeah. It was a bummer. It was an entire bummer. That's how I can describe it. The chips were okay because they were Doritos.
Yeah.
Oh, good. They got the chips right.
The bag of Doritos. So I don't know if anybody in the comment section has been recently. If you guys, I feel like I know every single person who went to the Lions game. People have been talking about that one like crazy. Rams fans definitely blew that one up. I know some people going to this one as well. This one against the Titans, which honestly I'm super pumped to see Von Miller. Mm-hmm. I can't get it out, guys. I can't get it out of my brain. And also, we get the modern throwbacks this week. Yeah. And we're going to see Von Miller for the first time in the modern throwbacks.
Looking
the Whites.
So good.
Well, we get to see modern throwbacks 2 weeks in a row, I think. I think it's going to be 2 weeks in a row, and it'll be prime time both weeks because we're playing the 49ers.
Yeah, because I hope we got prime time the next 2 weeks, but we also this season we get one primetime game against every single one of our division opponents. We had Thursday night football against the Seahawks a couple weeks back. That was week 5, I think, and then in a couple weeks we're on the road at the 49ers, and then our game at the Arizona Cardinals on a Monday night football game too, and that's going to be sweet.
That's cool.
Yeah, I hope prime time for all those, man. That's good.
Yeah, I hope we beat those 49ers really bad. I don't know. I really want to beat these 49ers after the last couple of years. But I'm also really, really, really excited for us to play the Cardinals again because I feel like that was just one game where we just came out flat. And the Cardinals executed really well on a lot of the things. They had a good game plan. Yeah. But it felt like one of those games from 2020 where it just felt like we didn't want it enough and we came out really, really flat. This is going to be an easy win. And so I can't wait till we play that team again.
I know exactly what you mean. And I talk about the feeling of the game a lot. And especially when we had Jared Goff at quarterback, I talked about the feeling of the game of how his first 3 throws, you knew if it was going to be a good day or a bad day to be a Rams fan. You know, if he hit a 8-yard out to Woods and then a 12 over the middle to Cup, you're like, all right, we're going to win this game. It's going to be easy. But if he's sailing his first 3 balls with 3 and out and we're punting and with 14:47 on the clock in the first quarter, and you're like, great. It's going to be a long day. So
at least with Stafford, though, at least you have hope. I just feel like he's really consistent, super level-headed, but he also really, really wants to win compared to Goff. I feel like sometimes it felt like Goff wasn't all the way in the game, or I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe the feeling I had with that, but I feel like with Stafford, it's even if we're losing by 10 or more, it's we still got a chance because we have Stafford. But I also feel like the game plan coming into the Cardinals wasn't very good, especially on offense. We abandoned the run, and then we were trying to go aggressive early. And then, like you mentioned before, it felt like on the defense we didn't really even have like a plan to stop them. Like we didn't have a specific plan that's like, oh well, at least this is working, but everything else isn't. So it was a weird game.
Yeah, what was the goal in that game?
Yeah,
It wasn't to keep Kyler Murray in the pocket. It wasn't to flush him out in particular. That's just kind of what was happening. And then it wasn't to to keep everything in front of you. It wasn't to man up. Like I have no idea what our goal was. Like I don't know what the what Raheem Morris went into that game with. Like, all right, guys, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, and that's what's gonna stop this Cardinals offense. None of the
work.
Cardinals, though, like I think by the time we play them, Kyler should be okay, but that's he did not look too good on Thursday night, walking off the field at the very end there. But I mean, this is the time of the season where we're going to start seeing a lot of those injuries, and like we're seeing against the Tennessee Titans, our opponent this week, Derrick Henry. Man, that sucks, but also that means that we can kind of get after the quarterback in this one. Like we can kind of send it to Tannehill, who's actually one of Von Miller's old teammates at A&M.
Yeah, and I do think I want to respect Tannehill for what he is. He is a smart quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. Like the guy makes the smart throw, and he definitely has, some wide receivers. And for the third week in a row, it seems like we have a revenge game going on. Josh Reynolds is, going to play.
Roger Saffold.
Saffold, yeah.
It seems that one hurts my heart, man.
Yeah. But like, I do want to respect. Okay, Derrick Henry's not there, but it seems like Julio's going to be healthy. Brown's going to be healthy. Ryan Tannehill, he's not like, no offense to Davis Mills, but he's not Davis Mills.
Yeah.
and so I don't think that this game, just because Derrick Henry's gone, I don't think it's an easy win.
No.
Now, that being said, the Titans, they've beaten really good teams, but they've also lost to the Jets. Now, apparently the Jets.
Well, who beats the Jets, or who loses?
Yeah, I know, right? Who
My brother was so mad yesterday because he was like, "This Jets game should be an easy win going into it." I was like, being a Rams fan, I can't say it's an easy win. And they put up a fight, and I honestly didn't like that call when they said it was helmet to helmet, or like that helmet to helmet tackle when it was really the running back. That's another story for another time.
Okay, again, I know we're talking Rams, but just to talk football for a sec there. Isn't it the most Jets thing ever that like the quarterback that throws for over 400 yards in like the first time in Jets history and forever is this guy who I think he was drafted by Dallas like 3 years ago. And then he's been a practice squad dude all these years. And then you draft a number 2 overall pick. And sorry, Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson had never looked as good as Mike White did on that. I am so excited for Thursday Night Football just to see Mike White again.
Dude, yeah, like I definitely don't want to like make this a Jets thing, but that was definitely my very first thought after seeing Mike White's stat line and a win was like, oh, that does not make Zach Wilson look good.
No.
Yeah.
Because who knows? But also, I mean, I also am not on the Zach Wilson hype train. I never was. I was kind of surprised to see him go that early. I thought that there was better options. I mean, we've seen the flash now from Fields. We've seen Mac Jones seems like he feels like the most average quarterback in the universe. Like he can do stuff, but not a whole lot. Like he can, I don't know.
He's a very Patriots quarterback to me.
Yeah, he's very Patriots. But then Trey Lance, I mean, Trey Lance led to one of my favorite comments I've ever had on my own show, which was last week when I talked about Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance. And I asked the question, when is the future? Is it now or is it later? And some of the stuff that falls out of my face surprises me. I didn't plan that sentence, but it just fell out of my face and definitely made me laugh. I hope it did everybody else as well.
It did. It made me laugh, and the worst part was like I told you, I am on whenever I'm listening to your show. It's when I'm at school, like on breaks, and so people were walking by, and I just started busting out laughing, and they were all really confused. I was like, "Sorry, you guys won't understand," but
I had a couple in this one though. This last
Yeah.
episode. I'll keep that
Donald
going.
just says, "Get out of my way."
Yeah. You never know when it's gonna hit. But I know that that game leading up to the Jags, that show is gonna be a little bit weird. I'm still trying to figure out some logistics of it because without going into too many details, I will be in a hotel for that one. So not gonna have all this cool stuff with me, but
Time to rob your house.
yeah, I guess so. You're close enough to like
Yeah.
You just make like 50 YouTube Shorts segments into Ram Showcase.
that sounds awful, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually though, to let you guys know what I'm gonna do for that one is I'm actually gonna do it live. I'll do the show live.
That would
If
be
I
awesome.
can get, as long as I can get decent hotel internet, then that'll be a live stream for that episode. It'll be the same stuff, same content, same everything. Just the production value will be a lot lower. It'll kind of look like this. I mean, without other people, it'll just be me.
And not the background, not the cool background.
Yeah, some good stuff back here, guys. I don't know if you can see, I don't know how much you can see, but that's some good stuff.
I've lost it. I did see a comment in there. I'd like to get your guys' take on.
Yeah, what do you got?
Well, apparently there was someone who I wasn't sure who, but they said that Leonard Floyd has mainly been playing on the right side.
A couple people asked that actually. I didn't want to bring that up. I kept.
Von Miller plays on the right side. Obviously, I think they're talented enough players. Like, and in the NFL, you move players around all the time. But like, do you think someone will predominantly play on the right side?
That's a solid question, and I want to say that the way that this Rams defense is kind of set up, I feel like it'll be Floyd more on that left side. So I think that we'll see Miller lined up against left tackles. I think, but I do think it'll like they'll flop around.
Okay, right, yeah.
We don't even have like a standard spot for somebody like Aaron Donald. Like he'll be on the edge sometimes. So, God, could you imagine Miller and Donald coming off each edge and meeting at the quarterback?
It's crazy. And like, you know, Rams House is always quick to bring up Sebastian Joseph Day, and you know, you can tell that guy's got a motor going, right? He missed the Texans game, but like he's no slump.
Yeah, he's scheduled to be back too. So is Andrew Whitworth. So we're looking at least. Actually, I think D. Will is at least in the process of being able to come back. I don't know if he'll come back this week. I would like to see maybe an extra corner in this week, just with the weapons that we're going against with the Tennessee Titans. Obviously, Julio and A.J. Brown, very, very talented receivers. And then we got Josh Reynolds, who you know is going to just want to put up a big day.
Hey, Brandon Cooks got a revenge touchdown yesterday.
Yeah, he did. I mean, it was a garbage time touchdown, but it still counts the same. You know, they still count the same. By the way, I hated that. Like, I get it. I 100% get it. That you want to keep snap counts low for your stars, especially when you're going into the fourth quarter up 38-0. You want to do all that stuff, but I hated it. Like, we played 3 quarters, and then we're like, all right, whatever you guys want to do now.
Yeah.
And I also took the Rams with the spread, and it was 17, and so I barely lost that, and I felt real good going into the fourth, so I was a little mad about that one too.
But yeah, like, obviously, like you said, they're doing it because of the injuries and everything. But to me, like I mentioned this to my family too, I was like, this is the fourth quarter, but to me it feels first like the longest fourth quarter in a while, because I also don't like it when the scores look way closer than they actually were, because it really wasn't. But also I was like, it's just fun to watch our offense, and it's fun to watch our whole team and what they're doing. I was honestly really hoping that Cooper Kupp could get enough yardage so that he'd get 1,000 yards in the amount of games that he's done it. That would have been awesome. I completely understand the logic behind why they were doing what they were doing, but at the same time, I was like, I want to watch 4 quarters of like real Rams football, not 3. But I mean, that sounds so privileged because we're destroying teams. And so it sounds a little American.
You want to beat them harder, like
yeah.
The fact that we've seen John Wolford twice this year, like that's
without needing to see John Wolford.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's a good thing. Yeah. Are you looking up Cooper Kupp's stats?
Yeah, well, 924 is what he's at this year. So I'm just trying to see if we got
76.
Yeah, so we got how many? We got 9 games left, right?
Yeah.
I think he can do it.
He needs to average 119.5 yards a game.
Which
So
that's
if
not
he
that's
averages
doable.
120 a game, then he will get it. But what did he have this week? Let's see real fast.
I thought it was something like
was like
100.
115.
So,
Yeah, he's
115.
So he's right there, and he didn't play like in the fourth quarter. We traded
that's the thing.
like a bye or like a preseason game there at the end. So yeah.
Do you want to know something that I've loved? And we didn't see it coming, but we've seen it the past couple games. So I've loved about the Rams offense this year is the way that we're using Gerald Henderson and Sony Michel. I love first off, Henderson lead back. Absolutely. He's doing a great job. Very much so. But I love that Sony Michel doesn't just come in for like one or two plays. Like I love that Sony will actually get a drive.
Yeah. That's historically what McVay has done with running backs.
Well,
we saw it with like Malcolm Brown would get a full drive and Gurley would sit on the sideline,
Sometimes I still feel like Malcolm Brown would come in and relief sometimes, and Gurley would take like a play off and then come back in. I really feel like they're letting Sony Michel like have his drive of the game or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe I'll feature that on the next watch party of like, oh, it's Sony's drive of the game.
Yeah. Make a big graphic for it.
Yeah. I love it. But and I think that we almost forget that Sony Michel trade happened just before the season started, and it's paying dividends.
And it's like, I didn't like the running back by committee we had last year because I understood the intent behind it, but I really didn't like it when we were having we were just getting somebody into a rhythm and we would take them out, and I really wanted to see a lot of Akers, but as far as this season with that trade, I feel like Sony Michel is not really viewed by many Rams fans I feel like he's just kind of hidden in our roster and everything because he does a lot of the things that you don't really see. He does a lot of those things well, but like you mentioned, I like the way we're using him, and I feel like the pass protection is still really for both Henderson and for Sony Michel. They've both been doing really good with the pass protection, so I feel like that was kind of like an underrated move that we made, but yeah.
There's just something about the Rams running game that just doesn't feel powerful enough, Yeah. It still just doesn't feel like it's got that punch. But I guess that's also part of it's a good thing because I got called out a little bit this week because we had a 5-yard run and I was like, ugh, it's a good play. It's yeah, but we're better than that. It's got we've gotten spoiled to that point now. But obviously I understand where we're at right now and that this is just a good team and this will not last forever. With the Rams will get back down to the I don't know about to the 2009 level. Hopefully we never get back down that far. But we'll dip back down again. We'll have those times where we're missing the playoffs, stuff like that. But we'll be back. It's just how the NFL is designed. The NFL is designed having teams go up and down. Look at some of the teams that are good right now, including the Rams that have not been good. And then you got good teams that are, completely fallen off. So it's something that happens, but there's something about that run game. I want it to be a little bit more powerful. Maybe it's just not enough splash plays for me. Maybe it's just that we get 4 to 6 yards every time, and which is fine. That's definitely good. But I feel like that we don't have that 35-yard run to start a drive or anything.
Well, Joe, I just to maybe push back on you a little bit. We are averaging 104.1 yards a game.
But isn't that pretty low as far as league average?
I think it's let me look at the ranking.
That's definitely up because I think this is the first time that we were over 100 average. Because we've been at 9. Let me see what last week was. I've got into my notes here from the show. So last week we were sitting at 95.4. We were tied for 23rd.
That must have gone up a lot then.
So we're currently we're just behind the Chargers. We are 19.
Yeah, so still below the average, but
yeah.
But you also have to look at the fact that
what's helping that is that the Rams' pass offense is so insane this year.
Yeah,
we're fine,
Yeah.
I'm still really hoping, just as for me being a fan of Robert Woods, that he doesn't get really frustrated and wants to leave. I don't know. I really hope that, like, I know the type of player that he is, but I really hope it doesn't get to the point where he demands a trade or something like that, because I
Yeah.
feel like, I don't know, there's just kind of something weird, like, on his touchdowns, it's fun to watch, but there's just kind of some weird things for me where I have that feeling like that might happen, but I hope it doesn't happen. Obviously, I'm happy as long as we're having success. Like, it's amazing to see Cooper Cup having these stats and our offense flowing really well, but I don't know. I just kind of have the feeling like that might happen.
I don't know. I just kind of have a feeling that the second half of the season will be a little bit more Woods friendly, I guess. He's at a 458 right now, a 12.1 yard average, 4 touchdowns, which is all way under what Cooper Cup has. I mean, Cooper Cup he's on a different level right now. He's absolutely just lighting the league up right now.
Favorite football right now.
Yeah, but that's I think that Woods will start to get there, but I think one thing that is happening is that Stafford has just kind of like locked in on that. And I think part of it is because Stafford has always just had one guy.
Yeah.
He's not had multiple guys where he knows that like any of these guys, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee, Van Jefferson, that these guys are capable of having big explosive games because he's come from a place where you have some talented guys, even guys that I'm a big fan of, like Marvin Jones and like Danny Amendola, guys that were really good players, but weren't to like the Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp level. And I still don't think, by the way, that they get as a tandem nearly enough credit for what they bring to a football field when they're on the same field. When they're on the same field at the same time, that's dynamic. And any quarterback you'd think would love to have those two.
And the blocking.
Yeah, they are not afraid to get in there. And I love to see that, man.
Also, shout out, we saw the return of the jet sweeps last game.
Yeah.
Love that. Love seeing Woods on a sweep.
I'd get mad at that because we always do like the pre-snap motion. And then I was always like, they're not going to bite it. They're not going to bite it if you aren't going to actually run the sweep. I was glad that we were able to see the jet sweeps coming back a little bit.
Well, Sean McVay said that was the third time this season that Robert Woods has scored on that exact play.
Wow.
On that running play.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good.
I was a little surprised to hear that. I was trying to think about it, like, when were the other ones?
And even like that touchdown, like off that play, it was so fun seeing Woods just kind of weave through the defenders the way he did.
Yeah.
It was great.
Dude, that's what, and that's something he can do. It's good to see him actually do that in this game because that's something that we've seen from him in years past on the offensive side. I kind of want to shift gears a little bit here. I see people in the comment section talk about tickets, guys. Unfortunately, I don't have any help for you guys there. Just do your searching, man, but get in that building because that place is unreal. All right, so it's worth it. Go check it out. The place is unbelievable. I'll be back there like 5 weeks away, something like that. Ooh, nice. That's exciting. But I kind of want to shift gears just a little bit. I want to get you guys' thoughts on the Wolf, Awu, and how he's being at the backup quarterback spot. Because, and I'll tell you guys up front, my beliefs on our quarterback position is I think that 1, 2, and 3 are not only correctly placed in the depth chart, but I also think that there's a gap between each of those slots. What do you guys have to say about that? Either one of you guys, whoever wants to take it.
You have it.
Yeah. I'd probably say, like you were bringing up yesterday, how like with the offensive line, it's not really fair because like he has the backup offensive lineman and some of the backup players.
Yeah.
I'd probably say like going in like from last season when we were in the playoffs with him before he got injured, and then also in that week 17 game that we had. I really liked Wolford, and I loved like what he was doing in our offense because I was like, it's Sean McVay, and he has a mobile quarterback. We've just never seen that before, and I just thought that was cool what he was able to bring. And so I'd probably say like I was even at some points I was like he's better than Goff in some cases, and so I really liked Wolford, and I was like if it goes to a QB competition, I think Wolford's gonna win it. But then, like, we brought in Stafford. I got really used to the type of play that he has and the weapons when Stafford's on the field as well. You have to account for that. I was like, man, I was really high on John Wolford when really it was just like Goff wasn't at his best, and I think we were all really excited for Wolford. And so it's like you mentioned, I think it's a little unfair he's playing with backups, but he's a pretty solid backup, but he's not as good of a backup as I thought he was. And I'd probably just say it's because of Stafford. That's what I think. But I think he's in the right spot with him being QB2 and not QB3.
You were the one that I said that to then? That like it's like, yeah, we can judge him a little bit harshly because he hasn't really played well, but he's also coming behind a backup offensive line. I think it was you that I was telling that to. Was,
yeah.
Like the drop off from Rob Havenstein to Alaric Jackson is big.
Yeah.
Like, having that pressure come at you like that fast. I mean, let's see him when he's able to throw to Cup and he's got our like big wit blocking his blind side and stuff like that. But yeah, Payo, what do you got on our quarterback? What do you think about? Yeah. What do you think about the Wolf, man?
So again, like Wolf as a person, as a player, as his story, you cannot love the guy. He hasn't looked good in his limited action that we've seen him. However, you also got to give this situational aspect of he's coming in cold, right? He's coming in cold. He's playing with a second string line. On top of that, like he's coming in where like the goal is to finish the game, right? I don't think Sean McVay is telling Wolford like, all right, get on out there. I want to see you, sling it, and I want to see you put 30 up in one quarter. No, like
that's true.
That's not what they're asking Wolford to do. I was really hoping, I wanted him to get a touchdown pass this game. Like I really wanted him to do it when he got in there. Sadly, that didn't happen. But I think that I am not calling for Bryce Perkins to be our backup as I've seen some of the Ramley do. I do think there is an argument to say Bryce Perkins' running and athletic ability has an element that Wolford doesn't have. Not that Wolford isn't he's not a statue, like he can move too. He's just not quite as athletic as Perkins. But I would agree with the statement that it's 1, 2, 3, and that's where they should be, and there's gaps.
Because Rams fans, first of all, I gotta give finger guns to Adrian, because Adrian in the comment section is actually he participates in drums, and we make sweet music sometimes. So that the ending song of Ram Showcase, if you guys listen all the way to the end, which I know every single person here does, then that's the song that you guys hear at the very, very end there. And Adrian was on drums, I was on guitar for that one. But for these quarterbacks, I mean, and there's not really a way to say it without like taking a shot at Rams fans. But I think that part of it is because of the history that we've seen as Rams fans at the quarterback position, especially over this last decade or so. Ever since really Bulger left. Bulger leaves, and then we get like Bradford in, then we get like Kellen Clemens and Austin Davis, and
I legit thought Austin Davis was the answer at one point in my life.
Dude, I was so hyped on Austin Davis. I was ready to buy Austin Davis. I was all in, dude, all in. Yeah. And I think that part of that mindset still stays with us today. So like we see Jared Goff just, all last season, or he's just going. And then we kind of see his limitations because we've seen him for the whole season, stuff like that. So then we see Wolford come in, the Wolf, Au, and then he's moving around, he's running, he's making people miss, stuff like that, and it's really exciting. And I think that Rams fans just latched to that. They're like, oh my gosh, this is exciting. But that was also the worst secondary in the NFL last year, and he was barely able to put up 200 yards, didn't have a touchdown pass. And then so it's kind of like I have that in my mind of Wolford. And it's unfortunate that, I do think that he could have definitely battled out Jared Goff and possibly won that. But then you have this year where we go into the preseason and we're not playing the Wolf. We're not playing Stafford. And so it starts with a battle between Duck Hodges, Quack, and Bryce Perkins. And Duck gets cut right away, basically after the first game, after that Chargers game. And then we see Perkins for 2 full games, and he does make some interesting plays. Even that Chargers game, he had that hurdle, and it was like, crowd erupted at that one, like for that hurdle. It wasn't even that many people there, and people were losing their minds. And I actually, this is going to sound kind of weird, but that was like right at the same time they announced the fan of the game, and they announced that it was a Big Seed, the one of the melon heads. So I don't know. That's irrelevant. It doesn't add to my story at all. But I think that just the excitement of Perkins and his athleticism, I think got Rams fans excited for this year. And I think that is what people are kind of hanging on to a little bit. And they're like, oh, we need to have him as our QB2 over John Wolford. When Wolford, I think, is clearly a better quarterback, because I think what people are misremembering about Perkins in the preseason is just about every other ball he completely sailed it. Like he was only playing, like he was pretty average, but he was athletic. And I think that people kind of latched onto that because Rams historically have not had that mobile athletic quarterback. So when we see it, we're not used to it. It's exciting.
Yeah. No.
I just got to say one thing. It's been great being on with you guys. My phone's about to die, so I don't want to just awkwardly leave out of here. But thanks for having me on. It was a ton of fun. I wish I could stay on longer. But yeah, thank you so much. Up here. It's literally on 1%.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You guys, or you, Rams House, can bounce out. Make sure you guys subscribe to Rams House on YouTube. Thanks for hanging out, man. Do appreciate it. But Rams House, it's just like seriously, search Rams House on YouTube. I promise it'll pop up. I've also put it in the comment section below, or the description below. So if you guys are hearing my voice right now, look in there. You can also hit a sub there. And then this way on for Payo, you can also subscribe to him. Just awesome Rams content, guys. I know that there's like plenty out there, but we know that there's a bunch of crossover, and I think everybody brings something a little bit different to the table. I know I definitely, me and Payo, like, I love what you do, man, but we do have different content, you know. And
likewise, don't love what you do, but couldn't do what you do.
You can do what I do, man.
No,
I'm just a dude. Like, that's all.
No, man. I do want to finish that thought though. In the Perkins Wolford conversation, I do think it's funny it gets as much attention as it does, because really both these guys, we've had such a limited sample size of what we've actually seen from them.
Yes, true.
Right? Like Wolford, sure, he had some meaningful snaps last season, but even then, like there wasn't a whole lot, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I know you always bring up like the developmental part of like people got to get better, so like that, and I definitely agree with that. Mm-hmm. I guess part of it for me is all those years where we had so many players with massive amounts of potential, mm-hmm. and still we're going 7-9. Thanks a lot, Jeff Fisher. But like, and so like I'll blame him, of course, but I think that like potential doesn't pay the bills, you know what I mean? Like, and that's like where Tavon Austin, guys like that, where it's like, yeah, they have all the potential in the world, but they're not turning it into production. So eventually that has to happen. That corner has to be turned where you get from just having a bunch of potential to actually now you're just producing on the football field.
Oh, wait and see guys are the worst. Like if you're a wait and see guy for I say more than like 2 years in today's NFL, like you're not going to make it, right? And unfortunately, the Rams had a lot of those wait and see guys, and we were kind of a farm team for other teams, right? and like that sucks being that team, but like that's the reality of it, right? And I'm just, you know, the two type of players that I hate having like for a long period of time are the wait and see guys and the if guys, right? And like Jared Goff was the biggest if guy ever, and if you're like, well, if he has a clean pocket, if he has a play action, if his receivers get, and you're just like
ground game gets going early, all that.
And you're like, okay, so if your team plays perfect, he's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
So frustrating. like
which to me translates to you don't have a good quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah. And like when your margin for error is so small, and honestly, like if you want to sum up the Stafford and Goff trade, the Rams' margin for error increased dramatically when we traded Stafford for Goff.
honestly, and I'll say it this way: if you look at that Detroit Lions game, the way that game was going for the Rams, where they were kind of just, I mean, I get the comment all the time of the banana in the tailpipe. We fell for the banana in the tailpipe a couple times in that one. But you take that situation and put it last year, I mean, it feels like Goff probably gets a little flustered and we don't win that game, you know? So, yeah, there's the margin for error. You were 100% right. You nailed that part of it. Like, that is 100% correct. Our margin for error is huge now. It's much larger, at least, than it was. And honestly, our defense has taken such a step back that I can't even imagine what this offense with Matthew Stafford would have looked like with that defense last year. I feel like that's a ring team right there.
Yeah.
Adrian's in the comment right now. He's asking because I actually am out here in Colorado, so I'm about an hour and a half away from the Denver Broncos stadium. He says, after the Von Miller news, what's the vibe in Colorado? Sad. It is somber out here, man. Like, no one is thrilled about this. I haven't seen one Broncos fan that's like, oh, cool. Yeah, no, he's getting old. Like, none of that. Everybody's like, what? But I will say this is one of the only times that I've actually experienced this from Broncos fans where they see the move and they're like, you know what, though? I've got nothing against the Rams. I really hope he goes and gets a ring. Kind of rooting for the Rams this year. It's very Matthew Stafford Lions fans-ish, the way that's kind of worked out. Because Lions fans they are rooting for the Rams right now for him. Now Broncos fans are rooting for the Rams because of Vaughn. So
win the Ramley.
Yeah, come on in. There's plenty of room, guys. There's more room. We're not here. I don't care if you can name Matthew Stafford's third daughter's middle name or if you only know that our quarterback's number 9. I don't care. You're all welcome here. Everybody at every level of fandom is welcome here. And then, somebody else that had the potential, it's like in the comment section, Brian Quick. And
Brian Quick.
Era, guys. The whole era loaded with potential.
Well, and so as I talk about how we actually develop talent now and it does turn that corner, Cooper Kupp is the perfect example of that.
True.
Right? He was always like, okay, like a solid receiver. Oh, he's injured. And I will never, ever underestimate that now that he's 1 year removed from his ACL tear, that just like he looks faster this year than he did last year.
He looks stronger too.
Yeah, stronger too. Right, his recovery went so well. And did you see the interview with Justin Lovett at all? He's the Rams like head of strength and conditioning. It was really interesting. He talked a lot about how they place the expectation on the players to be conditioned, where the training staff focus primarily on recovery.
Yeah, well, I've seen that a few times with like the whole like basically they're almost infomercials for the Theragun.
Yeah.
That the Rams put out, but I've seen that a lot. That like, I mean, this team is definitely like at the forefront of player health and recovery, because they even say they'll say the comments in those things a lot of like the recovery is half of training. Like that's if you're out there just getting beat up and then just keep getting beat up, like eventually you're just going to get hurt. So a big part of it is the cool down of it and getting yourself back ready to play again. So
well, that's why I love like Big Wit sitting out against the Texans.
Yeah, well, and that's a big thing too, is that like you see now this season because of the extra game, like Von Miller could have played yesterday as well, but they held him. Now I'm kind of thinking they held him because like everybody kind of knew that this was going to happen in my mind, but like they held him because they didn't need to play him. You see Dak Prescott get sat because it's like, okay, well, and it worked out for them as well, but that was kind of, in my opinion, kind of an anomaly. Cooper Rush coming in and just playing amazing. But it's like you have that situation where you're like, hey, it's a long season. We got a lot more games. Let's make sure that he's good. And the Rams, I think, do that all the time. And you're absolutely right with Big Wit. Yeah. What makes me nervous about that, though, is it wasn't actually an injury. It is, like Sean McVay called it, wear and tear. Yeah. That's what makes me nervous about Big Wit. I think we'll see this again later on in the season.
Well, and when you have a 40-year-old left tackle, that's one of the things you got to account for, I guess.
That's true. Yeah, he's getting up there. That's for sure.
I always said, like, I love Big Wit. I'm amazed that he took a pay cut to come back this year. He could have retired and no one think anything less of him. But my biggest concern was that our starting left tackle is 40 years old.
Yeah, well, I mean, anybody who's been paying attention to Rams Showcase for the last few years is that, like, I've said that for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I was concerned the same when he was 37.
Yeah, like, can he make it through the full season? Like, he's getting up there, so, like, and he just keeps coming back, and he's playing great ball. Oh. But also, can we just mention that Noteboom played amazing in his?
Yeah, we can mention Noteboom played amazing. Absolutely,
he played great, man, and I was really curious to see how the line went. I talked about it in my pregame live that I thought that Edwards was going to scoot outside to left tackle and that we would see Noteboom at left guard. And that's not what we saw. We saw him coming at left tackle, and I think he played awesome, man.
Well,
awesome.
And even last year, like, he stepped in and played well. Like,
yeah.
You know, and it's interesting because I believe it's a contract year for him. So I'll be interested to see if the Rams re-sign him, especially if Whitworth does finally retire.
I think they will because he plays 4 positions. I mean, he can be our backup at either guard or either tackle spot. And I think that versatility is kind of invaluable right now. Mm-hmm. And there's conversations. There's been, like, the rumors that the Rams could trade away somebody like Bobby Evans, which feels like it could happen. But I think Bobby Evans is a little bit that same way where he can play multiple positions. I don't know if I would want to see him at left tackle quite yet, but left guard, right tackle, I think that I'm comfortable myself in my zero worth an opinion of, like, because if I say that I like him at right tackle, that doesn't mean crap if the Rams don't put him there. You know what I mean? So, but I personally would be a little comfortable with him sitting there. But he has been kind of discussed in potential trades. So.
And shout out to the Rams offensive line. Like, Stafford has only been sacked 7 times. He's the least it's him and I believe Tua Tagovailoa. They're the least sacked quarterbacks in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
And then I think total the Rams have given up 8 sacks because Wolford got sacked once. But yeah.
Yeah, and then one of the picks that we have too is Wolford's. So I've seen people, like, attribute that one to Stafford, but with the Wolf coming in a couple times here. We got a couple questions here. We are going to wrap up here shortly, guys. These ones aren't super chats, but I see them here just sitting at the bottom, so we'll kind of discuss a little bit, and then we'll bounce out of here. I'll let everybody get back to Monday Night Football. Right now, we have the Kansas City Chiefs leading the New York Giants 10-14. Close game in the third quarter.
Giants are hanging in there. Yeah.
These Chiefs are not the Chiefs anymore.
Not your grandma's Chiefs of
last
year.
You're not keeping that hard.
Yeah.
But Adrian says, do you think the Rams are going to make one more move? DB. I've been holding kind of steady that I did think that the Rams were going to get a cornerback, but after watching the McVay show before this stream started, my whole life is Rams, by the way. But when I was watching that, he was kind of talking about the secondary and he talked about Dante Dion, he talked about Robert Rochelle, and I mean, he seems to like David Long. I don't know if I'm really there right now. I think I want to see just a little bit more consistency out of David Long Jr., but I don't know if the Rams go for a defensive back right now. We're loaded at safety. We've got plenty of those. Nick Scott's playing awesome, and Burgess came in late, and I think he played well, but I don't know. I think that we still see Deshaun Jackson get moved, but I think that move just comes for picks because when you mutually agree to part ways with somebody and you basically just tell the whole world, like, hey, we're taking offers on this guy. Yeah. And also, I mean, it sounds like Deshaun Jackson's going to be able to kind of pick where he goes. So kind of seems like Deshaun Jackson's going to be like, okay, I want to play here. And then we call that team and you're like, all right, Deshaun Jackson wants to play for you guys. Do you want him? Yeah. All right. What do you want to offer? And just take whatever is offered. So I think it's going to be like a 5th, 6th round pick. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy, but I think that's what we're waiting for now.
I think if a trade does happen, I think it happens in the AFC. I've heard there's no reliable sources, but I have heard that the Rams have had conversations with both the Chargers and the Chiefs about him.
Interesting.
Yeah. Again, those aren't good sources. That's just the Twitterverse.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that like me and Rams House, who's now in the comment section, been talking about was like he wants to leave. I mean, his contract, in fairness, is pretty incentive laden, and we're just not playing him enough for him to hit those marks. So it makes sense that he's going to want to go somewhere else just because he wants to make that money. And hey, I don't blame anybody on that. I'm pretty money motivated. Money talks to me, so I show no shame in that, and I respect people who are also that way. But for Deshaun Jackson, I think that the Chargers, they're loaded at wide receiver too. So I mean, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, that would be, I think, a pretty similar situation. The Chiefs, we know their weapons. We know that they've got Tyreek Hill, like they've got targets out there. But that one makes, I think, a little bit more sense simply because
Andy Reid.
They're struggling right now. They could use somebody out there. And then we talked about the Cardinals. That one quickly, we were like, oh no, like I don't think we would trade them in division, and also they've got all the receivers. All the receivers are Cardinals or Buccaneers, which was another one. I mentioned the Cowboys. The Cowboys feel real to me that he would go there. And then I think Rams House was pretty strong. Yeah, on the Packers. He said it in the comment section.
I don't think we trade him to the Packers, but like I could see if he got cut, the Packers signing him.
See, I don't think we cut him. Yeah. And I don't know if that's to be a jerk or not, but like, but there's part of me that thinks that like if we can't find a trade partner, or if it's just not working out, or if he can't pick somebody, or whoever is interested, he doesn't want to go to any of those places. Like, all right, cool. Just be inactive for the rest of the season then.
It is unfortunate though, because like I saw the stat that like Deshaun Jackson has like 20 more yards through 7 games this year than he did all of last season, and like the Rams are keeping him healthy, right? Wait.
Yeah, I'm trying. Hold on.
Oh, I'm seeing it too. Wait.
Rams House is screwing me up right now. I got to make sure that this is not.
Looking it up.
That we're not sitting here speculating while something happens.
Something's actually going on. I'm checking out. I'm not.
Please hold, everybody.
We're reacting to this live if this is a thing.
Yeah, we are.
I'm looking everywhere.
I'm not seeing anything right now. I'll just do the old school search.
I'm going to Deshaun Jackson's mom's Twitter page.
Okay, so maybe I'm misunderstanding your words here. Oh yeah, typing. Okay, never mind. He lied. Rams House is a big old liar.
Yeah, he got us. Oh man,
it's a typo.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, but he said it's official, like official.
Yeah, Rams House, you gonna troll us like that? Okay.
Okay, just hey, give me a yes or no, Rams House. Did you go to Green Bay or not?
And where are you finding this source?
Yeah, if it is, then where did you see it?
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. I don't know where he would go though. Like, because you'd also think that he'd want to go to. He said it's a typo. Well, yeah. He also said official, which the typo would be official.
Yeah, I love how he's acknowledging how his typo was. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. It'll be interesting to see, and like it's one of those things that like if he wants to like be on a contender, he's already on one, and maybe like
that was my point.
Like maybe if he like after he sees the Von Miller trade, he's like, you know what, maybe I can learn to stick around here and figure out my role in this offense.
Well, and also with like the Tutu injury, I think that potentially play, but I don't think so because it's not like Tutu's getting out there on the field. Tutu's not taking reps away from Deshaun Jackson, Yeah. So I don't think that really ties in as much, but I don't know. It's like, I guess I was talking to Rams House about this too. Is like, I think that I misunderstood why Deshaun Jackson came to the Rams. You know, like I thought he came here because he wanted like one little last shot at a ring. He was going to be our deep threat. Honestly, I thought with the way that we were using him, especially against the Lions, we saw him hit deep and open up those underneath routes, which is like, hey, man, that doesn't pop up in the stat sheet, but hey, appreciate you, man. That's awesome. And I guess I just misunderstood why he came here. Did he come here because he wanted to be a top target? Because that was a bad move on his part if he did, because he's joining a group that's stacked. So that was a bad move if that's what he was trying to go for. But I felt like it was like a last-ditch effort at a ring, and he could be a deep threat, make some big plays for a high-flying offense. Mm-hmm. But now he's mad and wants to leave. Like, I guess I just didn't understand why he came here, you know?
Well, and you wonder if maybe that, like, it comes back to the cap thing that like the Rams approached him and then they were like, hey, we're thinking of trading you. And then he's like, can you make it seem like it's a mutual thing? Cause like, I get it. Like,
I feel the opposite.
Yeah.
I feel the opposite. I feel like he probably like, I'm going to go over dramatic here, but I feel like he like kicks in the door. He was like, boom. It's like, if you guys aren't going to use me, send me somewhere that will, you know, kind of thing. And obviously, I think that that's way over the top, and I don't think that that's exactly what happened. But I do feel like it was kind of a conversation of he probably went in there and was like, "Hey, man, like I want to be in the offense more, stuff like that." And
probably what Robert Woods did.
Yeah. Well, and then like McVay saying something like, "Well, you are part of the offense. You're opening up stuff deep. You know, you're doing this stuff. Like you have been hit on those deep balls." You know, like that's what we're doing right now. But also, like Cooper Kupp's playing amazing. He's on fire right now. He is the Fuegness. And then, you know, it's like it. I don't know. And then so I feel like he probably was in there like, okay, well, I want to play. I came here to play, not to distract so that Kupp could get catches. Mm-hmm. So send me somewhere that's going to throw me the football. I kind of feel like that's what happened.
But like you wish though, like someone says to him like, okay, Deshaun, like that's great, that's awesome. However, you are like the most likely player in the NFL to get injured based on your injury history, where like a limited role is what you need right now.
I mean, yeah, I think that's part of it too. And part of the conversation that I think people have kind of missed a little bit is that we aren't using him a lot, but like the whole thing was like, if we use him a lot, he's just going to get hurt, and then we're not going to be able to use him at all. And then I don't know.
Honestly, whenever the couple of throws that he's had on like a slant or a crossing route, I'm like, why put him in there where he's going to get clogged?
Yeah,
like on those, right? Like the deep routes make sense for sure, but like. He is, based on his injury history, he is the most likely player to get injured in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way it is. But I mean, I don't think that he's going to play for us this year. Mm-hmm. Even if we don't trade him, I don't know if he sees the field. Just because of the way this is all gone. I mean, he got frustrated quick. He was frustrated by like week 3?
Yeah.
Originally, that he's out here saying that he needs more catches like that. Well, and we don't hear that. Like we don't hear Deshaun Jackson come up to the podium like, "Hey, I need more catches." What we hear and what we've learned as Rams fans over the last few years is how to decipher the information that we are getting. We don't get all of the information, but there are ways to kind of decode what does come at us, and that usually comes in the way of press conferences. And press conferences give us actually a lot more information than sometimes even they think they give us, so like when Sean McVay comes out and says like, I got to do a better job of getting this player the ball, that typically means they had a conversation and he's now saying it to the world so that player sees that he's saying it to everybody.
Yeah.
And then the expectation comes, because when he says that, it happens the following week. We've seen that every single time. When Sean McVay says, I need to get this player more involved, it's that week that it happens.
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, it'll be interesting, and too bad it didn't happen on our stream.
I know.
This has been awesome.
Excited.
Yeah, I do think I need to unwind a bit before hitting the slumber, as I like to say.
Are you're in Eastern time, aren't you?
I am, and
so it's basically like 8 a.m. for you already. Keeping up all night.
It's 10:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right now.
Yep, we're rocking at a good 8:20. I got
You got a party ahead of you.
I do not have a party ahead of me.
Monday night party at Sheriff Joe's apartment.
Well, my party is going to consist of listening to Motley Crue and keep on writing my script for this show.
That's a party.
I've got Knock 'em Dead Kid paused right now, so we'll start that up when we're done here.
Sweet, man. Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to be good. But for this week's episode of Ram Showcase, guys, like I said, we got a bunch of cool stuff that we're getting into. We are definitely talking about the Von Miller news. We'll talk a little bit more about Von Miller and his history. And I do kind of feel like a little bit connected to Von over the course of his career because I am a Texas A&M fan, so I did watch him there. And then I am in Colorado, so I've seen him quite a bit out here as well. I want, because I'm in Colorado, a Von Miller jersey really, really, really bad because I know it'll hurt everybody's feelings. And we're also we're gonna get into a little bit of juiciness with an update on the lawsuit with some news that came out of Stan Kroenke over the
spicy
the league meetings and some decisions that he has made, and I'll give you guys my stance on that and also what I think it means for the city of St. Louis as well as the Rams. And then we'll talk about this game preview, which is the Tennessee Titans coming to town to take on the LA Rams. It's going to be some awesome stuff. Unfortunately, we're not going to see Derrick Henry, but we did get word today that we probably will see Adrian Peterson, a guy that I've been saying all season that I wanted the Rams to go ahead and sign. And it looks like he's going to be added to the practice squad with the full intention that he will be elevated to the active roster probably this week, if I had to guess. And we also get those sick uniforms this weekend, those modern throwbacks, which are unbelievable.
AP, whenever he goes to a new team, he's healthy. He always has one or two good games.
That is true. Well, I mean, I just remember that one where he kept on saying, we were playing the Vikings back in St. Louis, and he said before the game, it was on like a Wednesday or something like that, he's like, I'm taking my first carry to the house. And it was like, I think I tagged Chris Long in it on Twitter. Like he wasn't going to see it unless I tagged him or something. And yeah, so he didn't, luckily, but he did rip us up, I think.
I think I remember that game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Rams House reminded me also, we do have the NFC West Roundtable tomorrow. That will be right here on the Rams Showcase channel.
Sick.
I think part of that was because of this Von Miller move. We want to just we're trying to excite the people a little bit more. And also we're going to have to talk all of the crap to Arizona Cardinals and the AZ sports fan because the Arizona Cardinals are the only NFC West team to lose in week 8.
Can you please remind the AZ sports fan that like the thing that sucks about losing on Thursday is that you have to sit with it longer.
That does suck. That does suck. Easy experienced that as well this season, having lost to the Rams on a Thursday night football game. But first of all, man, I'll give you a chance here to kind of shout out where people can follow you, man.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, anyone watching, thank you so much for tuning in. And this was a lot of fun to do on a Monday, a really fun Monday in the Ram fandom. But yeah, you can find me on Payo Time on YouTube. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram. But most of my good stuff's on YouTube. So
am I allowed to ask what that means, Payo?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Payo Time. It's a personal thing for me. It's kind of a cool way of saying pay your time, reference to hard work. Put in your time, put in your dues, all that jazz. And then yeah, I like talking about the Rams. I do a watch party for each and every Rams game, which are a ton of fun. So definitely, if you like, you want to react with this community, come on out. And yeah. I have a cool collab coming up with a Titans YouTuber. We're going to preview this game together. And yeah, the adventure of the 2021 season continues. Dude,
that's awesome, man. I love talking to the opponent. It's always a good time. I've done it a couple times this year.
Yeah, I try to do it every week.
Yeah, there you go. That's the way to do it, honestly. Yeah. And if you got NFC West, then hit up the roundtable squad. Those guys are awesome, man.
Absolutely.
But Payo Time, appreciate you, man. Rams House, who is no longer with He's not dead. He's just away from this. Weird way to say that. So yeah, well, the stream got wild, and but Rams House, who is also here for a good chunk of this, is in the comment section as well. But make sure you guys, if you search on YouTube, that's how you search on YouTube is just search Rams House, and then it'll pop up there. Or you can check the comment section because he's literally commenting eyeballs right now. All right. He's commenting the eyeballs. So go ahead and do that. Subscribe here, drop a like or dislike, whatever is more honest for you. I prefer honesty over anything. But thank you guys so much for hanging out, man. And you, Payo, dude, Payo Time, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, man. Peace out, everybody.
Peace. And go Rams.